Welcome to Rise Above the Grind. I am your hostess, the Consultress, bringing you amazing conversations with cutting edge entrepreneurs and real estate investors so you can inform what you're up to and where you're going without some of the preconceptions and some of the old ways of thinking that what got you here might just keep you here if you're not careful. So it is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to invite TJ to the show. Welcome, Mr. Bencho. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing so good. It's really an honor and a blessing for you to have me on the show. We've known each other quite some time. We happened to be at the same networking event the other day, and we tried figuring out how long it was. Me and you disagree on that timeline a little bit. I think it's longer, but we've known each
Feels
other
like forever, man.
we've known each other quite some time, and I'm honored to be on here. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. And we did some BSing in the green room just before we hit record. And yeah, it's been better part of half a decade. So TJ is actually the reason why I got invested in the Pittsburgh real estate market. He's the one who lifted me up out of the grind of New York and said, "Hey, man, there's some really great opportunity here. Let me actually show you, take you by the hand." And literally was my concierge, drove me around. It was great. And so for today's conversation, for this purpose, our audience is always wanting to innovate and learn from other successful folks that have been on the road. What stopped you, what has limited you, and what'd you do about it? How did you overcome those things? So here at Rise Above the Grind, we start with the definition. So TJ, what does the word grind mean for you?
First, we'll say, just like you said in the green room, it's grinding on your brakes, like I did when I drove you around. You let me drive your car, and I'm pretty hard on the brakes, so I apologize about that. I owe you a set of brakes. Um, but grinding for me, it's all about discipline and consistency. I've been real estate investing since 2004. My family's been real estate investing since 1925 in Pittsburgh. And I've been in this real estate world heavily since 2004. I also work out on a regular basis. I'm a football coach. I'm a wrestling coach. I have three boys, 15, 13, 10, and a beautiful wife. So I like to try to lead by example in my family more than by words. And so I say all that to say it's about consistency and discipline. There's days where working out, there's days where working, there's days where being a parent, where being a husband, where being a coach, you just don't feel like doing what you know it's going to take to be successful in the long run. And it's those days where I go ahead and I do it, whatever that may be, that after I get through that, I feel the most accomplished, because I know I did what it took to be successful today, in spite of not initially feeling or desiring to do so.
Yeah, man. So what I'm picking up that you're putting down is sometimes it can feel grinding in the moment when you just don't feel like it, but having a commitment to discipline and a commitment to seeing yourself through, sometimes it will require you to do it anyway, whether or not you feel like it. Like this to me is sometimes the core of the definition of success is like do it all the time. Do it when you feel like doing it. Do it when you don't feel like doing it. And we'll talk about some of the ways that that can kind of get lopsided depending on where your head's at. But I love your definition of, take it in stride. Because when life is a grind, when everything in your life is like all tilt all the time, that can lead to exhaustion and burnout. But what I'm hearing from you is specific placement of when you're grinding is because it matters and because you've made a commitment.
100%. 100%. You couldn't have said any better.
You said it. I'm just repeating
You
it.
re-summarized it. Yeah, having that purpose, right? I mean, um, you know, Steel Point Capital, our mission, our purpose is to build happiness, transform lives, and strengthen the community. And we use the means of raising capital and lending capital to do that. Simultaneously, it's no separate than my purpose as a husband, as a father, right? So I'm looking to build a family legacy. I'm really me and my wife and I together, we're a united front. We are working to raise our boys where they go out there and they focus on doing what they love in life, not what they have to do in life. So keeping their mind on really like what's important rather than just building things, but building value, right? You know, I'm a Christian man, so for me, it's God, family, fitness, and then everything else, which includes business, professionalism, whatever that is for you, knowing your why behind it all, and really that being why you do it every day. For example, I make a lot of calls all week. I'm making phone calls and text messages and outreaches to raise capital so that we can then go and fund real estate investors to buy rent to build their own wealth through flipping or burr model. Well, guess what? Sometimes by late Wednesday, Thursday, sending my 35th text for the week or being on my, how many 20th phone call, it can really start to feel like a grind. And then I just have to remember, like, I'm providing people with a great opportunity on both sides of that. And when I keep that focus in mind, every phone call then has a purpose and it doesn't feel monotonous.
And I love what you said that you have it lined up in a specific order of importance. So work is supported by your commitment to fitness. Like if you don't show up healthy, you don't show up for work. And if you don't take care of your family and you put your fitness above that, it's out of order and God above all. So it sounds like your alignment with your purpose comes through down into your work and gives you that place to be sustainably in action because you have your priorities set in a row. You know, I find that like I was saying, sometimes this grind can feel off kilter, it can feel imbalanced because we don't have that prioritization really mapped out. You know,
Yeah,
the burnout folks that are like work above all else. Oh crap, I missed the little league game. Oh no, I'm working through a family function and a family dinner. You know, those things that lead you to, oh God, wait, maybe I need to make a change. Sometimes the grind feeling can be, hey man, your priorities are out of order. It's time to check yourself. So have you
100%.
found in your evolution that there have been times when you were on purpose and in motion and then realized that you needed to make a change because it didn't quite feel like it lined up with your priorities?
1,000,000%. I mean, you knew me before I was at City Life, and then before I was at Still Point, I was self-employed. I'm 41 years old. So I joined a company by the name of City Life 5.5 years ago, and just a few months ago, we spun off Still Point. Well, when I joined City Life, it was as an employee. Prior to that, I was self-employed my whole life. So, I'm 41, so go back, say 6 years. From the time I was 20 until 35, 15 years, I was self-employed. And most of that time I loved it until it got to the point where I was working 70 to 90 hours a week. Work overtook my life. I mean, I was running traveling the world, marketing people to come invest in Pittsburgh. That's how we met. I had my own renovation company. I had my own property management company. All three areas were extremely time sensitive. And if you ever read the book, The 4 Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss talks about becoming the bottleneck. Well, that was me, right? I hired all family members. I never hired up. So everybody I hired told me what I wanted to hear. All opinions and all decisions had to come through me. So I was coaching at the time. When I had my kids, I was still coaching football, still coaching wrestling. I would be there physically, but I wouldn't be there mentally.
Yeah.
And kids spell love Time. They want you present physically and mentally, which is what you were just talking about. And that pull really started to weigh on me heavily. There would be times where I'd be driving home after going and looking at properties, overseeing the renovations, being in the office. On my way home, I would pull over and my chest would be so tight. And honestly, that's what led me to make a change from self-employment to employment. For the first time in my life, 5.5 years ago, I couldn't figure out how to get out of that cycle. And so when Casey and Brian started City Life, Casey's older brother, Sean, was my high school quarterback. He recommended that we talked. We sat down to talk. Never did I think I would go work for somebody. But when I sat down with Casey and Brian and they told me the vision and the mission, I fully bought in. And I knew that I couldn't keep living the way 70 to 90 hours a week, always feeling like I was drowning, being impatient at home, work dominating everything.
Oh man. So here's your second definition of grind is like I wasn't present, therefore it was grating on me that my focus was elsewhere when I wanted to be somewhere else.
Mm,
And you know,
100%.
for entrepreneurs, there's a lot of identity and a lot of ego that goes into being self-employed and that goes into being a business owner. And to take a good hard look at it is the reason why you're in business the results that you're currently getting. And if you're not getting the results that your identity says you wear the business owner hat to get, there's room for questions. That is the grind that of, unsustainability. That's the grind of like it's depleting me to continue to be this identity. So now I know that I need to make a change. And so what I heard about your decision to join a team was that you got to have a specific lane and you were part of something where everyone was picking a role and everyone was on the build, but you weren't alone. Like that bottleneck feature of entrepreneurship, it is rough, man. Like I grew up in a family business where my dad was, the business owner. He was also he would go out in the community and shake the hands and things. But when it came to decision making, I watched him step out of the way. He had a partner and they would have discussions and make decisions together. Or he had managers in place at the retail shops and the managers would take the decisions and really only ask him for counsel when something was up. So, I watched that grace that it takes to not have to be the freaking boss, like what I say goes. It does take a measure of humility and also like knowing yourself. So what I heard in this like transition for you is you got the opportunity to really double down on what was important and make a more specific choice to be able to have the life you wanted to have and be surrounded by the type of people you wanted to be surrounded with.
1,000,000%. And I love my family, so it wasn't about my family, but
Right,
it's
right.
about also part of that, everything you
Environment.
said, plus being willing to hire the right people that you can trust to make those decisions.
Yeah, right on. I love that. And so, fast forward now for us where you are and what you're leading. How do you get to pay that alignment forward in how you approach business today?
Oh man, so we got on a way to operate the business called EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Yep.
We got on EOS a little over 4 years ago, still run on EOS today. And what it really, one of the big things EOS talks about is delegate and elevate. Right people, right seats, everything we've kind of already touched on a little bit. Having your mission, having your core values, I could repeat those off of the top of my head because they're really who we are, not just words on a piece of paper. And then living that out. So how I get to play that out is, I'm on the board of directors for the Boardroom Mastermind, which is one of the largest real estate masterminds in the country, which means I lead a room once a quarter at the Boardroom Mastermind. We have the Power Hour at our office about once every 45 to 60 days. We actually have one coming up on July 30th down at 10 Bedford Square. And then I speak to a minimum on the phone of 25 to 30 people a week, whether it's people who are growing their real estate portfolio through borrowing from us, short-term hard money lending, or people who are investing with us to get 12 to 10% return on their money. And in every conversation, I'm able to talk to people to hear what they got going on in their life, really understand, and then share some of my experience with them. So, in addition to the fact that, the team members that I work with, the people that work with us at Steel Point, and I still have a close relationship at City Life. So the people that work there, I'm able to mentor and guide and lead a lot of those individuals to help them not have to experience what I experienced.
Amen, dude. Like you get to pay forward. If you know there, you can help other people not to have to go there to learn it too. I love that. And it shows your big caring heart and how passionate and dedicated you are to being aligned with your work and to living it full out. And that's really what I like to invite here to this podcast. So most of you in the audience know that I don't bring slackers to the table. I only bring the top of my network. So it is my pleasure to have had you here today, TJ. If you
Thank
are
you.
listening to the podcast, stay tuned. We've got another episode lined right up for you right after this. Don't go anywhere.